So you all know me as a person who's on the front lines, downloading the newest social media platforms and establishing dominance on all social media platforms. So TikTok being no exception. I mean, I'm a I'm a big RuneScape fan. I think that you need to have a full skill set. I think that you need to have a presence on all social media platforms. So I want to talk about TikTok and the stigma around TikTok. More notably, I want to talk about how interesting TikTok has gotten. And I also want to put it on video that I have had I have had a role in TikTok becoming how weird it is today. TikTok is a great app because it is basically a media bin for any MP4 file that anybody wants to upload. And people fail to realize this, that you could use the hashtags for virtually any community in TikTok, and the algorithm will deliver those videos to those people. So if you have some sort of message that you want to get out there. I don't know who you are, what's your shtick. TikTok is pretty lenient. And I one thing that I really don't like is when people say, "Oh, TikTok, that's just for people with a short attention span." It's like, yes, we're at work when we're using TikTok, or we have a few minutes and we're trying to be entertained for 15 seconds, hopefully. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having it's not even like we have a short attention span. We're the same people on any other platform. I don't understand this notion that TikTok is supposedly for a younger audience. Also, it's like this is the same stigma that YouTube had when it first came out. People thought that it was just for people like PewDiePie or stuff like that. But I remember in YouTube's golden age, there was plenty of great content. It was a very healthy, weird side of YouTube up until not too long ago. And the same is really true for TikTok, only it's a new app. And I think they're still trying to make their name for themselves. So the beauty of TikTok right now is that they really do have a very healthy and thriving if you it's called Shifttok. If you go on TikTok and you look up Shifttok, the people on there are sharing some really interesting work on like mathematics and different, science and like quantum physics and stuff like that. And it's all random. Like if you go on there, basically there's this function, and I want everybody as a homework assignment, if you've watched this video, I want you to download TikTok, and there's this great function on there called the ignore function. So you go on to TikTok, and then they're going to suggest to you the basic stuff like the dancing videos and stuff like that, the Charlie D'Amelio sort of content. And that's all well, fine, and good, but that's just the commercial side of TikTok. There's a healthy and thriving weird side of TikTok that's really a great thriving community. And the algorithm on TikTok is something else. I mean, I've seen people start a TikTok and then overnight have 10,000 followers, and it's not an uncommon occurrence. And the content on there can get relatively edgy. I mean, within reason. And then, of course, there's certain features on the app, like automatic moderators and stuff like that, that pick up certain sounds and different keywords the same way any other social media platform has that apparatus set up. And it's really bots that are deleting most content in most cases, is what I've noticed, because a lot of these social media platforms are basically they're too big not to have. Basically, it's all automated. That's one of the greatest things about these sites, is that if you could so for those of you who complain about your content being like taken down off of different social media platforms, take a second look at yourself in the mirror and your own strategy, because my experience is that it's not the case. This notion that's put forward about these different social media platforms being as strict as we perceive them to be, or maybe a lot of the different more heavy-handed moderation on these platforms has been significantly drawn back because of all the different things that we saw happening in the news regarding what's been going on with Mr. Elon Musk and his acquisition of Twitter, which is something that I don't even pay attention to anymore because it got way too ridiculous. Like I just see the different breaks and the things that have been going on. The intrigue does pop up every once in a while when I go out of my way to listen to the news, but I honestly don't even pay too much attention to the news anymore. I know the news is going to be the same old crap. Like, and I know it's like at a certain point, even like the news commentators who back in the day we'd listen to, it's like, oh, okay, every single day there's going to be a breaking story that's like completely changes everything. Who cares? You're going to go to work tomorrow and everything's going to go the same way. But what I noticed on TikTok with this Generation Z crowd is that they're really, really, really interested in the new age. They're interested in the age of Aquarius. They're interested in the Fibonacci sequence. They're all about UFOs. They're debating the flat earth on their lives, and they're not ideologically imprisoned like the millennials were. Because I think that there's a significant difference between people who are exposed to long form content for a duration of time versus people who were exposed to short term content for a duration of time. And I think that the algorithms that are at work in the background of these platforms play a huge role in that. And I think there is something to the thing that people rightfully point out about people having a short attention span. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I think that there is a lot to be unpacked when we do these platforms. They're just due. I mean, all these platforms need to be really analyzed for what they are and what they bring to the public. And there's a significant reason beyond the whole quote unquote spy app propaganda campaign that you see pushed by the Republicans who, want to see the app deleted. Like there's this like weird thing that I noticed. Like there's this weird consensus in the so-called community of YouTubers who are like political YouTubers and stuff like that. Like Styx Hexenhammer doesn't seem to even think for a second that having TikTok deleted would be would be like damaging to the social media apparatus in general. And I've offered Styx to debate me, but me and him are really busy guys and we're on opposite ends of the world. But I really, really, really want to debate someone like Styx Hexenhammer or Tim Pool or something like that and talk about this notion that TikTok, because like they all seem to agree unanimously that that these platforms need to whatever moderate or no, that TikTok needs to be done away with. But I really, really, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen, and even if it does happen, Americans are just going to be using a VPN to access TikTok anyway. But it sucks because and obviously people, we went from what is it, Vine to Musically, now we're on TikTok or YouTube to Twitter, and you just jump over to different platforms. I mean, that's the nature of social media. And then you bring the content and what you've learned from each platform with you. I mean, at a certain extent, we all have to learn to be platform nomads. And what we need to realize right now is that there's this developing apparatus of social media platforms because they're all competing to be the next Twitter. I mean, Elon, Mr. Musk there went and really proved the impossible. He proved to the rest of the social media platforms that that you could just take Twitter and you could return it to like a 2009 Reddit style of moderation, and you could really innovate on the platform in such a way as to make the company really profitable. And of course, Twitter being like a very significant central hub for communication, it seems like a no-brainer to acquire one that already existed. Because I know a lot of people were like talking about how that's bullshit, but the thing is, it's all about brand recognition. And he's a businessman. He's not a free speech. He's just wearing free speech badge on his, because because it's basically a way to put his name front and center in the news all the time and get news coverage 100% down the line. Basically, they've all managed to use the unpack the Trump formula that he was using to troll the media and get all the publicity that he wanted. Well, it's basically like the blueprint to do that is out, and we're seeing different celebrities take advantage of it in different ways, like Kanye West calling himself Ye now. So I mean, I'd love to call him Ye, but it's just doesn't, it's like Kanye West fits. Like I could say Kanye West, but saying Ye, I don't feel like I'm getting my point across. So I'm gonna keep calling him Kanye West, but I know he goes by something else. But I'm just saying, he obviously saw what Trump was doing in 2016 or 2015, and when he was trolling the media and he was in the news all the time. And what were they doing? Well, they were calling him Hitler. They were calling Trump Hitler back then, and they were running his name through the mud and all that stuff. And then Trump would troll them with a tweet. Well, people like Elon Musk or people like Kanye saw that, And what they did was they decided, hey, I could just apply that. Those people are billionaires too. Even Kanye was going to plan on buying that broken down social media platform at that one time, which is completely copying that same business model. It's like you take on this controversial role as like some sort of demagogue figure, and you promote yourself as if you're some sort of making some sort of cause, because it seems like all these billionaires want to have a label and have themselves being seen as some sort of innovator and expansive consciousness person, or some sort of hero to the public. I mean, I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but there is a trend with the billionaire class right now where they want massive public appeal pointed towards them. And that's a form of capital as well. Make no mistake. I mean, it's like whoever has the best social reputation among their own particular niche definitely does inherit a certain level of prestige among the billionaire class. And this is something that can't be ignored. And this lends itself over to celebrity. This lends itself over to actual real players that are going to be at work as far as watching the future of human evolution in terms of the information superstructure and how the networks and so forth, the information feedback loops of these platforms are going to develop to begin with. So this is something really essential that we're going to need to pay significant attention to as far as when we're talking about different social media platforms like short form, long form content. And likewise, like I'm saying, the fact that the millennials were really kind of sold a bale of goods that led them down a straight path, in part because they were all in schools, they were all in colleges, they were sitting in classrooms and stuff like that. And now, sort of to a larger extent, thanks to recent events, that's all done away with. And honestly, that's a blessing in disguise. I mean, we have to think about it. In 2020, for the first time ever, students didn't have to sit in a stuffy classroom for all time till eternity. I mean, do you guys remember what that was like to be sitting in a classroom for all time till eternity, sitting in a classroom for an hour just so that your teacher can get paid to because they're a 9 to 5 worker, but they have to just take all the students' time. You just literally they just take your entire time from your childhood and they have you sit in a classroom learning nothing, being bored, being taught to be bored, be basically having all your originality and all that spark taken out of you. So I see all this as a really great opportunity right now. If you don't have to go to school, in which I think right now people can just point to current events and say, I don't want to go to school, and don't do it. And people are like, oh, I have to do such and such to be allowed to go to school. I have to do such and such to be allowed to go to I have to do be allowed to go to work. I say don't go. I say just stay at home, and I say figure out a way to make it on your own. And if you connect to the interconnected network on the internet and you know enough people, then and you have something original to do or something to say, or you could break yourself away from the system at any point. I'm just saying, it's basically come to the point where right now I've come to the full blown conclusion that what we need to do is develop our own vocabulary as a niche community. I want everybody to think about this and take this home with you. Create a word. Start using your own slang. That's going to be the secret right here. Among your own people, you speak your own language. This is something that people understand from different cultures and stuff like that, but it needs to be brought to the pop culture front and center, that we need to all be able, and especially internet subcultures already have this going for them. But I'm saying speak those, use those words in real life that you use, that, we would experiment with stuff like this on TikTok and stuff like that. People talking about like breaking free from the matrix and stuff like that, which is really a very significant innovation on language. If you think about it at its core, the concept of breaking free from the matrix in terms of just a day-to-day conversation around the water cooler. I mean, that's a groundbreaking new frontier of the lexicon, actually incorporating the term matrix into your as a noun, verb, and all those different things. A place. What is the matrix? It invokes all these things that move far beyond the movie, but we could use films and stuff like that as real vantage points to expand on a lot of these different concepts if we apply things appropriately. So right now what we're watching happening is there's a de-evolution that's happening in terms of all these obsolescent systems, which are like greed. Greed is an obsolescent, outdated model. See, this is something that I've been thinking about in great detail, and I'm going to flesh it out right now. So you guys are lucky enough to hear this, because this information that you're hearing right now, I mean, this information could change. This is like very valuable stuff. And you think about it, because these are my conclusions I've come to after a lot of research. So to just to hear it for free is, I mean, I would be all over this. This is my thought. It's called the horse and buggy matrix, and I don't know if this was something that anybody already came up with, or if I heard this now I'm remembering it, but this is how I understand it. It's called the horse and buggy matrix. So think about this: if there was a horse and buggy company that worked to everything in its power to stay in business and lobby against the invention of cars, and we were all forced to ride on a horse and buggy, well knowing that there were cars that we could drive and knowing that there were airplanes, but we were forced by law to ride on a horse and buggy. We would call that the horse and buggy matrix, because we would be stuck on a horse and buggy going 15 miles an hour, when in reality we know that we could go on a car, and that the technology is available to go on a car, and the technology is available to go on an airplane, but for some reason it's not allowed, because they want to keep the horse and buggy people in business. They're like, oh, a bunch of people have jobs making horse and buggies, people have jobs driving horse and buggies, people have jobs shipping and handling horse and buggies, not to mention the entire system of movement and stuff like that is all based on horse and buggies, but people know that cars exist. So think about that. So apply that same logic to what we're witnessing happening right now with, for example, banking. I mean, we have cryptocurrency. Uh, Basically, the technology, no, 100% the technology is there right now for us to not need to have banks. And this is known. And that's the switch to digital. And it's in a nutshell, is the fact that everybody who has a job at a bank is working with an outdated system. It's like, sorry, guy who wears a suit and wears a mask and goes to work at a bank. Your job is 100% useless, and it's actually a nuisance. There's nothing more annoying to me than going into a bank and having to deal with a guy who's wearing a suit and, just whatever, and we're all being real polite, and he's a cool guy to talk to, and the bank can solve a lot of your problems. But let's be honest, the fact of the matter is that a lot of these people have these jobs that are 100% obsolete, because the blockchain takes care of all that for people. The technology is there. Blockchain technology solves so many problems, so many useless jobs. But the problem is, what are people going to do all day? And where are the banks going to go? And what about all this money? And what about all these different things that are going on? But if you've ever used cryptocurrency, you know that the bank is completely pointless. But this is a big charade. It's kindergarten. I feel like I'm around kindergartners when it comes with absolutely all things up and down in life. It's freaking surrounded by people who are in spiritual kindergarten, people who are in economic kindergarten. And the other thing about money, we have the internet. Why do people care about their local economy anymore? I mean, sure, you could care about your local economy as far as like its health. You should support local businesses and all that. But I'm saying that your wallet is in no way, shape, or form limited to your zip code anymore. You have access to the entire world. There's ways to make money. You have the entire world is your oyster. Literally, you could create any business that you want, anything that you could sell. Simple learning curve. Very simple. Stop drinking beer. Take freaking as many hours as it takes, because it's possible. It's not some sort of digital marketing thing with some millennial in a freaking Bugatti bragging to you. That's the commercial aspect of it. No, sit down on a computer and learn to code. There's a reason why people say that. There's a reason why people say learn about how computers work, because computers are the future. Lest ye become a computer, y'all should learn how to use a computer, because there's going to be plenty of people who aren't going to know their ass from their elbow when the switchover happens, and everybody's going to be hooked up to Neuralink, and everybody's going to be hooked up to fucking brain chip world in the future. Because the secret about that is that nobody talks about is that it's going to solve the bandwidth problem for the awakened people of the world. There's going to be a certain class of people who decide to stay human, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Because you want to know the real fundamental truth, it's called natural law. And it's the natural law of the universe. And it's recognized no matter where, anywhere in life is, you have the ability to say no. And that is a universally recognized truth. And that is a being's entitled power given to it by the Most High, and that is a power that's given to you, that it's the ability to say no and the ability to reject things and say no and say I will not do that. And you could use force against me, but at the very core, in the very fabric of consciousness itself, every being has the ability to reject what's happening around them, to their own, to the point of their own. It might lead to your death. It might lead to your non-existence. But believe me, you came into this world through non-existence. You came into this world from the whole entire world came from just non-existence. So that doesn't matter. It was a test the entire time, and it's a test to see when you'll say no. And if you won't say no, then you'll be brain chip world. And your brain is a great computer. Your brain will be. But the other great funny thing about the brain chip world is that y'all are gonna get hooked up to this fucking brain chip world, thinking that you got the 2023 brand new brain chip. But guess what? In 2025, there's going to be a brand new brain chip, and your brain is going to get old like a phone. Your brain is going to get old like a phone, and you're going to be zip, 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 freaking just zigging out in the fucking Borg, and you're going to have to continue to get the new updates. And believe me, once you get one, you're not going to stop getting them. Just the same way some other things have been tested out on the public, and it's never one now, is it? It's never like you just go into fucking Mr. Elon's brain chip emporium and you get your number one brain chip, good double plus good fucking chip, and then you and your family go home square. No, you're on the grid, man. You're a fucking walking 5G tower after that, and you're fucked. And you're gonna be the fucking computer for everybody. Do you realize, like, the luxury of having technology outside of us? The fact that I'm standing in front of a laptop and I'm not merging with the laptop. There's a real fundamental, just there's a prize to that. There's a real great thing to that. And I think that there's a real that's often overlooked. And whatever, man. But I have the ability to say no. And at a certain point, I don't care if all of you become superhuman. That's the next stage of human evolution. So be it. I will stay Homo sapiens sapien. And I'll hang out with my chimpanzee friends, and you're not going to brain chip them either over my dead body. We're going to stay fucking, we're going to, continue the hominid lineage of the organic human and lead that to its fullest extent and expand our own telepathic powers and connect to what truly made us human. Because any of these inventions that you made are simply relics of this current era, but they've all risen from one common element, and that's human consciousness. And human consciousness is what created the machine, so there is no reason to merge with it. But I guess it's an experiment. And if gullible people are going to give up their ability to say no, if gullible people are going to renounce themselves and they're going to buy into this suggestion that they don't have freedom of will, then there's nothing we could do about that. I suppose that's why they say that this is the devil's world, isn't it? Because it's like, that you could lie. People can be lied to, and people will buy the lie. And no matter what, and there's nothing you could do. You could scream at your relatives about it or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just a decision as to what direction humanity wants to go in, as far as how humanity wants to evolve overall. And it's going to be each individual person's decision, but you're going to have to be able to bite the grit, and basically be ready for the grid to be shut off on you and stuff like that. If shit really hit the fan and really started going. I mean, think about it. Like, what are people going to do when the freaking grocery stores get shut down? What are people really going to do when the grocery stores get shut down? That's my question. That's honestly why I don't really, I no, nothing against vegans, really. Nothing against vegans. I have no problem with people carrying, their own diet. But my problem is these vegans that want to, like, tell other people what to do. It's like, I reject you telling me what to do, sir. You cannot tell me what to eat. I will not take your suggestion about my diet, sir. I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. And I don't, if you have a suggestion about how I could eat something more healthy, but you don't look very healthy yourself, whether I want to eat meat or not, that's my business. But I want to see a vegan stand in front of a hungry family in front of McDonald's and tell them that they can't go in. I want to see these vegans actually put their money where their mouth is and throw a bucket of pig's blood on a woman who's wearing a fur coat. Once these people start doing things that allow me to take them seriously, instead of just making annoying TikToks where they quote stupid pseudo intellectual verbiage that's from a bygone era of philosophers who would completely cringe at the idea of these people quoting them anyway. It's like these people on TikTok who do these lives, they're on there going like, oh, I'm the fucking person who's the arbiter of this word. And they use this word, or they'll pick out a word, and it's never one word in particular, but it's always out of context. Or they'll be like, we can't unlife animals. Oh, I don't want to unlife animals. And I'm sitting there biting my freaking fist, like just so angry, listening to them like just abuse language like that. But then it hit me that this abuse of language that we see from this class of people is actually our greatest ally, because they're rewriting the lexicon for us. And if we just pick one, or if you have good intentions, or you have any intentions at all, no matter who you are, I mean, I just want people to know this. If people are going out of their way to try and confuse themselves and come up with things that aren't logically cohesive, and they're trying to say things that are ideologically married to one specific sort of doctrine, well, those people are actually very open to suggestion now, aren't they? And now I think that people really kind of forgot about this along the way, but you could just open up your thesaurus and you could take two words that sound good together, and if you put them together and they aren't usually used together, then you could create your own definition of what those two words mean and just start using it in conversation. And then other people will pretend that they know what that means, and they'll start using it in context the same way that you were. And through that way, you actually manipulate language, and you drive the lexicon, and you control the narrative to your own extent in whatever way you want. And that's honestly the future of debates, I think, is that people are all going to debate over settlements on what definition the other person's going to use. But it's funny when you pull these things out of thin air during a debate, because it's like two words that you never heard go together before, but they sound great together. So once you use them, then a person who's like uninitiated, who you're in an argument with or whatever, starts using those two words too, pretending that they know what it means. Then you know that they're intellectually dishonest, and it's time to move to strike. So, debates are like that. And it's interesting to see, because really what we're watching happening right now is the great debate for the future of humanity's evolution, brain chip world or organic, own your farm, live off the land, laissez-faire capitalist society where people can just generally not be bothered. And we could create inventions and create technology that doesn't really involve such a stink that you see in the cities and stuff like that. But like I said, TikTok kids or whatever, TikTok Gen Z people, and because it's not all kids, everybody's on TikTok now. It seems like there's people on TikTok, and you just literally go into the search bar and search a hashtag. It's based on hashtags. So you go on there, you find hashtag awakening is my favorite, or hashtag quantum physics, or hashtag Bashar, or hashtag 0010110. You go on there, a hashtag woke, not woke, but it's the awakening. That's what they're saying now. The people on TikTok are saying that they're awakened. They want an awakening. They're not woke now. They want an awakening. See, I think that what happened was, along the way, people on YouTube got caught up in this information feedback loop of those like blue-haired people who were screaming nonsense at professors and stuff like that. Like Jordan Peterson is a famous one and stuff like that. But I think people got caught up in like the cringe compilations of that, and the people trying to unpack the arguments of these clearly uninitiated, intellectually dirt worm people who shouldn't have even be brought to conversation in the first place. So that's honestly, I think that one thing that people forget about is that there needs to be a hierarchy of structure as far as who's allowed to come to the table and actually have the adult discussion. It's like, let them all talk about their campus freaking politics or whatever around the kids table, but really we need to try to kind of establish like an sort of like an air where it's like, oh, well, if you haven't read this book, then you're not allowed to participate in the conversation. Sure, freedom of speech and all that, you're allowed to talk about whatever you want, but we're not going to listen to you unless you have credentials. That's actually the same way that doctors work. It's like, if a doctor is not a PhD, or a doctor is not an actual doctor, doesn't have a doctorate, then he's not a doctor, and it won't be taken seriously by other doctors. That's honestly how we have to start thinking about it, because what's happening on Earth right now is Dungeons and Dragons. What's happening on Earth right now is it's Dungeons and Dragons. That's what politics and the unfolding of humanity right now is, Dungeons and Dragons. It's not campus politics. This is not community college. This is serious. This is like, and of course it's biblical. These are biblical times that we're living in right now, and those are that's the exact same type of tone that we need to have when we approach the information feedback loop of these systems and the different platforms that we're using, and the way that we engage with ideas all needs to be reevaluated and put into context for the larger framework of the Great Awakening, the age of Aquarius, and all that stuff, and the way that the world's going to evolve from this point moving forward. And all these different aspects of it are all going to be, rightfully so, inherited by the next stage of human evolution, which we do have to agree that, we hear from these like people, this like doomsday perspective on like, oh, we're at the last, this is the last human, like this is the Homo sapiens final 100 years or whatever. But I don't believe that. And I also don't think that that's anything to be afraid of. I think at a certain point we will create technology that can reconfigure matter, can rearrange particles, and create things out of thin air, willy nilly. And I think when that day comes, that it probably will be a time when the Homo sapien is evolved past itself. But I think that it's important that we hold on to those concepts like consciousness and the various different special characteristics of the Homo sapien that have gotten us this far, because consciousness made a computer. So it makes no sense, and it's not logically cohesive, and it really is like it's a crime to assume that we would merge with that we would get a brain chip. That if you say no, I think that the most high force in this universe would understand. And I think that if that was the end of you, then if that was the final cry of the Homo sapien was, I will not merge with a creation of mankind, I think that there would be like a hurricane or something. Like, I think that that's why, natural phenomenon and stuff like that exists, because think about it. If the world got hit by a meteorite tomorrow, let's be honest, and everything got wiped out, maybe we would wish that some people had went the way of merging with the machine. So maybe it should be an option. Because I used to actually work at Taco Bell, and when I worked at Taco Bell, there was this guy who I worked with, and he was like, "Man, I can't wait to get a robot arm." And I'd be like, "What are you talking about? Like, that sounds creepy as shit." And he's like, "No, some of us are really waiting to get augmented. We don't want to be human anymore. We want to evolve to the next stage of human. And we're going to take all the augmentations and brain chips as they get rolled out." And I'm like, gnarly, man. I'm like, hardcore, man, rock and roll. And dude, this is like back in like 2012, because I haven't worked in years. But I'm just saying, like, I used to, this is like my first job. And like, this dude is like, he's like, "Dude, it's gonna be the sickest thing, man. I'm gonna get my entire chest replaced by cyborg shit." And I'm thinking, like, now I look back on guys like that, and I'm like, yeah, man, like, let the fucking Taco Bell manager merge with machines and become a badass fucking, dystopian freaking hell fucking, just same way people want to get like a ton of Botox and stuff like that, or people want to, off themselves or whatever, let them freaking augment themselves. My point being, don't mandate it on the public. And I think Elon understands this. I think that there has to be that sort of laissez-faire approach to it, because I think forcing the brain chip on people would be really awful and evil. But the problem is that not everywhere on Earth is the United States of America. And a lot of places on Earth, and a few populations that I'm kind of worried about, particularly in Asia. I'm worried about those people and how they're going to be augmented by the paradigm shift that we're watching happening with the brain chip and all that crap. So, I mean, it's important, most important now than ever, that these ancient wisdoms get out. I mean, like I said, these are biblical times. This because the thing about it this way, it took about 100,000 years for the modern human to really become shaped and formed. And I think it took about 1,000,000 years for what existed before that. Like, let's just say that's the way that it is. So now, that 100,000 years, as far as human communication goes, like, this video could be watched by everybody on Earth if everybody just had the link and everybody could think about this. So I'm saying that, like, that's evolution in progress. I mean, that's the evolution of communication in general. But at the same time, like, that's like millions of years of evolution in just done through a person talking through a microphone. It's really amazing if you think about that. Like these ideas and stuff like that, just to be able to put them out there and just to be able to tell people that this type of stuff, or just speak my mind and have it broadcasted to the internet. I mean, it's a really blessing. And I'm thankful every single day to be alive at the most important time in human history, watching these biblical events unfold. And these amazing, it's such an honor. And we should all wake up every day and just be thankful to play whatever role you're going to play, in terms of the grand tapestry of the unfolding of all the events that are happening on Earth right now. Because think about it, the Dark Ages were a time that happened, and those people didn't even have the brain chip to look forward to. I mean, shit, it might be cool for some people. I'm not a transhumanist, but shit, I'm not against it. I think that maybe some people would want to do that. I just think that we need to safeguard natural law, freedom, and recognize freedom of will across the board for everybody, and really posit a natural, unified front as to being able to use these systems to serve us, and not get caught up in the horse and buggy matrix, not get caught up in trying to hold on to these old systems that at one point served us, but now do so no longer. There's a lot of different options that are open for people who want to go whatever different path. And I think that the universe has set those out in front of us. And a lot of the things that are happening on Earth right now are just suggestions from the old systems. I mean, you think about it, there's all these different aspects about the world that really, they're unsettled debts that need to be filled out. I think that people are fulfilling their soul contracts are being fulfilled, and there's these different energetic, karmic, universalities that needed to be fleshed out, and these probably still are. That which is evil probably needed to, become as evil as it could be, just the same way that which is good had to become as good as it could be. And I think overall that it's generally a good thing. And I think if people just start reading again, you know what I mean? People just start reading again and start thinking about the different aspects of their life, and how your life is connected to everybody around you, and how their life is connected to everybody around them, and nature and water. Think about water. Definitely think about water a lot, because water is going to be huge. Water is everything. You are just water, water. I could not talk about water enough, but that's huge. And but yeah, no, I reject you telling me what to eat, Mr. Vegan. I don't care about your diet suggestions. I don't like you telling me, because you, sir, do not get to tell me what to eat. I will raise my own chickens, and you've never raised a chicken. You've never spent any time around a cow. I spend time around chickens and cows that I raise, and you know what? I have to make sure that disease doesn't get spread in the hen house. There's only allowed one rooster in the hen house. I have to protect my chickens from the coyotes and the wolves. You don't have to do that. I have to, so it's my rightful. I have domain over my farm, and I'm able to raise my chickens and do what I want to do with the natural world around me. And it's my decision. And every human has that right to live on a farm and live off the land. And all these vegans who want people to eat lab grown meat are just racing for the end of history, I suppose. But believe me, they're not going to get the prize, because nobody's going to save you, Mr. Vegan. If the freaking grid shut off, I mean, it's like, dude, just live and let live. Like, I don't understand why there's this obsession over animals and stuff like that. It's like, dude, like, I don't know. At a certain point, it's like, like the fact that they push lab grown meat so much has got to be concerning. It's like, one, I'll leave you guys with this thought too, is sort of a final thought. All right. If the cows and chickens were not being eaten by humans, then the cows and chickens would go extinct. I'll say it again. If cows and chickens were not being eaten by humans, then cows and chickens would go extinct. There's a phenomenon about animals that are prey, animals that are eaten by other animals, have evolutionarily gotten to that point because they are getting one over on us. There's way more chickens in the world than there are humans. Why? Because chickens have evolved to be food, and the vast majority of chickens are fine, and only some of them are getting eaten. But we chickens have got us tricked into feeling bad for them. But there's millions of chickens who are reincarnated on this earth all the time. and you know what the vegans want is they want those factories to be shut down, and they want the chicken population to be reduced to a fraction, like 1% of what it is right now, because we're not going to have as many cows if the cows are all grown in a lab, Mr. Vegan. So you who love cows, so you're going to shut down the farms, so there's not going to be any cows on the farms. What are you going to have, cows in the zoo? You're going to eat your vegan burger and live in a pod and eat bugs, Mr. Vegan? Is that your plan for all of us? And you know, one other concerning thing that I heard during this vegan debate was this lady who was saying, "Are people going to be allowed to eat meat or whatever?" It's like, oh, ma'am, you know, if you're going to start allowing people, if you're going to start determining that, you know, you're going to, so allowing, the concept of allowing somebody to do something implies force now, doesn't it? Now, who's going to stop me? That's my question, Miss Vegan. Or, you know, you're not going to stop me. But my real question is, are you going to stand in front of a family who are going into McDonald's, who are starving, who that's the only food that they could afford? Are you going to stand in between them and McDonald's in your drum circle with your hippy dippy friends, you know, and stop a hungry family from going into McDonald's? If you can, man, then I'll start taking your ideas seriously, I suppose, if that's the case. But I don't think you will. I think you'll stay behind your phone and you'll stroke your ego with the TikTok moderator who's on there talking about, you know, that you're all so right because he's never gets to talk to a girl. So he's listening to you talk and he's like, oh wow, you know, you know, and then you're smiling and shit like that. But everybody in the comments are just going crazy saying that it's that, you know, that this is like cringe and that people are like ripping their eyeballs out trying to listen to it. I don't know. Those are my perspectives because I just think about it. It's like they're all clout chasing. It's like that's kind of the thing that you also have to think about is that all these people have social media accounts. All these people are self-serving, trying to make a career off this crap. And that's all that you have to point to shut them down. If these people are going to go and they're going to talk about this crap, like they're going to try and push their bullshit agendas, you know, their campus politics on us. Literally, all you have to do is point to the fact that they're really, really cringe and they're not X celebrity that they're trying to imitate. You know, that's my favorite thing to point out. It's like, you know, you're not AOC. You're not cool like AOC. You know what I mean? It's like even just the, you know, you don't even have to disavow the fucking ideas. Just attack the fact that the person is not the celebrity that they're cosplaying as and that they don't get any attention. Just call them irrelevant. You know, that's honestly the best way to shut down these idealistic millennials who, you know, across the board. Because if people are really have any conviction in their beliefs, then that sort of thing won't phase them. But that definitely does separate the weekend warriors from, you know, from the people who are really dedicated to what they're talking about. And these are all going to be essential things as things really start getting heated up around the corner, you know, next election year and stuff like that. I mean, these are things that we're all really going to have to think about this. So share this around. I mean, this is probably a good audio for people in general. So yeah, the general thesis of this video is get on TikTok because TikTok is a really good app. You know, and do whatever precautions you have to do to avoid the bad parts about TikTok. But I'm telling you, get on TikTok. You know, it's a good app. It's basically just a media bin to upload any clip you want. And there's great features on there. You could do text to speech. You could just type out whatever you feel like you have to say, and the voice will read it off. And people on TikTok will hear it, and they'll hear what you have to say. And get on Twitter too. You know, Elon's been running the platform pretty well. It seems like people could generally talk about whatever they want on there. So it's actually a really great time for the internet right now if you think about it, you know, with all the different great things as far as the public being able to have access to the communication megastructure again. I mean, it's like a turn of the tide in the old, you know, and I think in part, you know, it's probably because something really big's happening in the background and they want us all distracted. But hell, it's definitely entertaining to see all these great movie recommendations and all that crap, and especially all the stuff that people have been putting on TikTok. Maybe we could share some really good information too, as well about like things that people have otherwise forgotten about and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool to see like the new generations listening. You know, in myself, I've been working on my book. You know, I have the book. I've been working on this book called the myth of the viral video, and you know, also the mythology of the viral video, which is sort of this concept that goes as follows. You know, every single video that you see online that's like a Post Malone video with 1 billion views. Well, the point is, I hate to break it to you, but viral videos are not real. And that video that you see of your favorite musical artist that says that it has quote unquote a billion views, sir, that video has not been viewed by like freaking 10% of the Earth's population. It just simply is not the case. A billion views is fake. It's all bots, and it's also real organic views that are counted like for 100 views just when one person watches it. And all the comments are fake too. You ever go on to one of those videos and you scroll down to the bottom and you see that everybody's been posting that one clever comment that everybody seems to be posting over and over and over again? Yeah, those are bots. Those are bots. Those are either bots or those are people who sold their accounts to some bot company that then uses their social media account to go comment on these videos and make them look viral, these pseudo viral videos. In reality, there's only about 1 million active users on the internet at any given time, and they're not all on, they're all, when people go to the premieres of these videos, that's the real audience. When you watch the video premiere and it has 10,000 people watching it, it has 100,000 people watching it when it premieres, but that's about it. It has to like really get promoted and pushed hard by the algorithm for it to get to that first million. But that's all part of it. That's actually part of the studio's marketing campaign, is for the video to reach a certain threshold on platforms like YouTube so that it makes a certain impression with the gullible audience. So you really have to unpack these different things. And then of course, like celebrities like Jimmy Kimmel, like fuck Jimmy Kimmel. He's force fed. His entire concepts and everything like that are all completely just force fed. He's a force fed celebrity that is put in front of the public just to push these dog shit, bullshit, dangerous ideas. And he's a talking head. So don't listen to celebrities. You don't have to listen to what celebrities say to you anymore. All the bullshit crap that celebrities are trying to push is just nonsense anyway. And they're going to start pushing the fucking brain shit world pretty soon. So it's something that you got to really pay close attention to, because that stuff's going to get ruled out real quick on the unsuspecting public who think that the freaking world still runs on horse and buggies. So I'm going to Hollywood. That's the other news. Well, you'll get to watch my IRL in LA streams. So that's why I wanted to just get all my ideas out. Like, you can almost consider this to be like the final message, or this is one of the final messages. So after this, I'm going to go off and I'm going to get corrupted by the outer world, but I'm still in the bunker, but I'm leaving the bunker because I feel like there's work that needs to be done. We're going to the UFO convention. We're going to be at the Conscious Life Expo, me and my team, and we're going to reshape the entire structure of of the information feedback loop. And we started with TikTok. We have a really great coalition of people who have been sharing content that's actual useful information on TikTok, and it's catching on. All it really takes is for one piece of content to go viral on there. It's a really, really fantastic way. Oh, wow, I leveled up my attack. Shit, I have level 76 attack. Let's see what the total level. I am now level, fucking hell. I want to be level 90 so bad, but it takes forever. I'm level 90, fucking level 89 still. Play RuneScape. RuneScape is a very great game. RuneScape is a model for life. If you guys play RuneScape, what you do in this game is you complete quests that are tedious, and you do what I'm doing right here. You just kill these monsters and you gain attack points, and it's a really great time investment. It teaches you the value of so many things. I mean, basic, like just using a computer and how beautiful the world can be. RuneScape is my favorite video game. So, at any rate, I mean, that's kind of the end of it. I don't really know what else to say. Just be on the lookout. 00101110. It's really catching on. Big thing on TikTok. Check out the books. If you're interested in all the different work that I've been doing, different just exciting things happening around each corner, and it's awesome to see how these social media platforms are actually starting to lighten up, and you could actually sort of say whatever you want. I mean, this broadcast has gone out. I mean, I've survived. I've made it. I'm not a sellout. I mean, I'm a freaking normal YouTuber. Maybe it's the fact that I'm a has-been is the only reason why I'm able to just say what I want. But in general, it seems like everybody I've talked to has had a great response to the things that I've been saying. We need to reject the old systems, and we need to own nothing, and we need to be happy about it, right? That's what I always say. I want to be the first millennial to own nothing and be happy. You heard it here first. That's the that I don't know. That's awful. Somebody that, but it comes from the heart. I'm not nobody. I feel like a lot of people who say that shit are getting paid to say it, but I don't want to live in a pod though. That's the only thing. Like I want to live in like the field. I want to go back to like nature. Can we have like that? Remember because like when all you guys merge with machines and go into brain chip world, can you guys just make like a zoo? Like a freaking zoo the size of New York for us like normal humans to live in. I'm talking New York State. Like, just give us one state, and you guys can go have your cyborg, freaking Terminator, dystopian hell world. Just let us humans have our jungle. Give us a rainforest, dude, and don't like give us like computers, a rainforest, and like make the world like the 1990s. I just don't want to get my brain hooked up to all the. Please, Elon Musk. I just don't want to get my brain hooked up to that thing. It looks like fucking wires and shit. You guys see the Neuralink, bro? Like, doesn't look fun.